just right as we go. It's up to you.
Awesome.
What do you think, April? Should we rock and roll?
Yeah, let's do it. You want me to share my screen, your screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, awesome. There you go. So everybody, this is Hank Ebeling.
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 Close enough.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
My last name's Hieronymus, I understand.
Yeah, you have quite the name.
So Hank's a small business entrepreneur and founder of an owner of the H4 training gyms in Illinois. He built his career on a passion for customer service and customer experience, and he shares his insight with conversations of other small business owners in his popular podcast, Success Trails. Hank recently authored the book, Crushing the Competition with Service, and that's available on Amazon. So thanks for coming and joining us today, Hank.
Yeah, thank you. I think all ladies, right, for taking an hour out of your time. I know it's part of the day where you could be having lunch like Constance, or could be getting some work done, maybe some things with kids. So thank you for giving me your hour. Hopefully going to give you as much value as possible. We're going to try to steer it to gear towards who's on here and what industries you're in. But much like everyone on here, small business owner in that realm, we know that unless you're living under a rock, it's a little bit chaos out there. And for all of us in the business world, in normal situations, we know it's like this. It's ups and downs. It's stress galore when you're own your own business or you run your own, if you're a realtor, things like that. And now with what's going on, it's even tenfold, right? It's another level. So how do you as a business owner or independent realtor or whatever the case may be stand out? And service is always the answer, because everything else becomes a commodity, right? They can take your technology, they could take your knowledge, they could take your methodology, but they can't take how you make them feel in your service. So if you can always keep that in mind for everything you do, no matter how many realtors there are, how many people in nonprofit, whatever business it might be, that's the one thing that you can always have on the competition is your service and experience you provide. So that's what we're going to talk about in the next, about 45 minutes or 50 minutes or so. If you have any questions at the end, we'll kind of dive in anything specific to what you do. So if you look over the last, now it's almost a year, the businesses that have really thrived have been the businesses who had a loyal customer base. If you had a loyal customer base, you still took a little bit of a hit, but you were able to still survive, and eventually you'll thrive even more as things start to pass. If you didn't have that loyal base, you noticed that your business struggled, right? People went elsewhere, they found somebody else. You didn't become as important to them as maybe before. So loyalty is the name of the game. And to get loyalty, you have to have service and you have to have the right experience. So that's the importance of it. And if you remember, if you're going to give them the right service, that's going to lead to less people leaving you. If you're a realtor, right, they're going to tell somebody else. So you're going to get that word of mouth, which is going to lead to referrals. And generally, if you have the right customer base to begin with, they're going to tell other people who are like them, who can afford the houses that you sell, that can donate to the non-profits that you're in or whatever business. So that's the importance of it. It's all the R's. It's referrals, retention. Hopefully it can increase what you're bringing in. Hopefully it can help your reviews. So all the big R's is where the service is going to come help you and kind of give you that ROI. It is a long-term play. It's not a, everybody talks about delivering great service. I'm sure if I asked each of you, April, how do you treat your clients, your homeowners or buyer sellers? You're going to say, of course, I have great service. Very few business owners are going to say they have bad service. But it's not about what you think. It's about those that you're serving, the customers. What do they think? So that's why hopefully what we're going to talk about, you can take and pluck some things. Maybe a lot what we're going to talk about you already know, and that could be the case. Service isn't rocket science, but maybe you're not doing these things consistently, or you did them 2 years ago, or yeah, I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but yeah, I don't, continuously do this on a regular basis. I haven't built a systematic way. So if some of this is, yep, I know it, maybe you just need to hear it again. And maybe some of the things we talk about are completely new for you. So when we're talking about delivering outstanding service, really, there's 3 points to it. It's the leadership. And if you're a lone wolf, you have your own real estate business, or you're running the show by yourself and what you do, then it's you. If you have a team, then obviously, whether you're the owner or manager, and then it's about the team, which it doesn't sound like anybody here has a team. So we'll talk about more in the sense of you. And then it's about kind of the systems and strategies that you use to help carry a lot of this out that we're going to talk about. So let's start with you, which I can see all of you here on screen. Service has to be a choice from you in terms of how you run your business. So yes, of course, you're going to say it's important, just like living a healthy lifestyle is. But how come everybody's not healthy, right? It's easy to say, hard to execute on. So that's the same thing with service. None of you are going to tell me that customer service isn't important, the experience for your customers isn't important, but are you executing on it? So you have to decide, is this a priority for when I sell homes, my non-for-profit, Isabel, and the things that you're doing as well? You have to make that choice that it's important, and every decision that you make is always with that kind of client-centric type mindset versus the bottom line mindset, which is important. We all want to make money, and that's why how our business survives, but it's got to be, okay, does this make sense for my clients, or is this just about me first? So I would say, number one, start with that mindset. It's not a given. You have to make it a priority. If you do have a team or you're working with somebody else, do they have that same mindset if they're interacting with people that you also interact in terms of your customers? So mindset number one, make it a priority. The team, none of you really run teams, so let's just bring it to yourselves. Number one, it's all about relationships, okay? At the end of the day, there's a great message I saw once, and it's, people quit transactions, they don't quit relationships. So to you, do your clients, customers see you as just a transaction, right? Yeah, whatever, I can use April, I can use Angie, I can use whoever, it doesn't matter. They're just selling me a home, they're just doing this. Or do you have a relationship with them? And that relationship leads to loyalty, and that loyalty means they don't just go to that next shiny object, they're going to stick with you, which is what we need, right? Especially now. So when it comes to relationships, how well do you know your clients? And there's a simple thing to follow, and they say at a bare minimum, if you have a good relationship with someone, you should know their FORD, and that's an acronym. It's FORD. The F stands for family, O stands for occupation, R for recreation, D for dreams. You could think of that as goals. At the bare minimum, if April and I have a relationship, I should at least know her family situation, what she does for a living, what she likes to do, hobbies, recreation, dreams, and goals of her working with me. The bare minimum. If I don't know those things, then I don't have a relationship. And that's something that could take time. But for you, if you have any staff, anyone else, that's what you should be thinking is, do I know that information? And if I don't, I need to get that information. Do I keep information on my clients and customers somewhere that I can pull from? Some businesses, it's a CRM system. Some it's just a notebook, whatever it might be. But do you have somewhere where you can access this information? Birthdays, all these type things that you want to make sure you have from a relationship standpoint, so you don't become that transaction, right? How well do you know them? And part of a relationship is what you're doing outside the time with them. So if Angie was helping me find a new house, okay, it's great. We have this good rapport. We're talking. What about outside of our time together? Maybe she heard me say that I was taking this big, huge certification this weekend, and I was really stressed about it, and it was going to be a big deal for what I do. She might shoot me an email and just say, hey, Hank, I just want to check in. How'd you do? Did you have success with that certification? Simple as that. It had nothing to do with her selling me a home. Didn't have to do it, but that's the difference between why I'd want to work with you and someone else, because that's just a simple act of care and showing that you're trying to build that relationship with me besides just that transaction of it. So that would be the big thing for you if you don't have a team, is how are you building relationships and cultivating that outside of, just that time you're spending with that person. And then kind of with the S's, which is we'll spend most of our time, systems and strategies. I think, one of the best strategies, it's old school, nobody does it, and that's the handwritten note. I don't know if any of you do that. It's kind of one of those things, because nobody does it, it makes more of an impact. If we all think about, if we go to the mail, you're combing through the mail, it's junk, bills, and the minute you see something handwritten, it catches your eye, and you stop, and I guarantee you open that first. So if that's how it is for you, that's going to be how it is for your clients and customers. And Angie, you got them in front of you. What do you usually write those for, if you don't mind me asking?
Actually, these are actually birthday cards for people this month. I just downloaded a CSV file from Facebook, and it downloaded everybody that had birthdays, and I am putting it into my CRM and handwriting certain people birthday cards and noting like when to message them or text them or send them an email.
Perfect.
But I also have a whole bunch of cards over here on my desk or on my shelf. And it's just, like, hey, I was thinking about you. I like to come from a place of contribution. So like right now, interest rates are low. So I usually just say, if you or somebody has a mortgage, take a look at the interest rate, and it's a great time to refinance. Let me know if you need any handyman around the house or a handy person, or I have referrals. Like I want to come from a place and I want to help them. I'm sorry, my dogs are like playing behind me. So that's my thing, is I don't want to be like spammy. I don't want to be salesy. Like I really think like April and I are in a business, like it's a relationship business. Like, yeah, it's sales, but you are in like it's all about relationships. So like you are spot on with that.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, anytime you're connecting via note or email, obviously there's time and place for it has to be a business conversation, but if you can try to make it not about that in those other connection points. April, do you or the rest of you do anything similar? Or?
Oh yeah, I do note cards all the time. It's just nice. I like getting mail. I like getting notes in the mail, even if it's like, hey, how you doing? It doesn't have to be anything specific. I just like, yeah.
Cool.
I think also with today with COVID, and I'm a people person. I love interacting with people. My husband, on the other hand, is very introverted, but I just checking in on people, seeing how people are doing. Like, hey, I was just thinking about you. Like even like text or emails are that way as well. Like I don't have any other intentions of just reaching out and seeing how your family's doing.
Yeah, and it can be someone that never bought with you. It was years ago, just for them to kind of get that nice message out of the blue. Yeah, cards are great. One thing we adopted, I mean, essentially kind of the same thing, but we do postcards. We got branded postcards, and we'll send those out. We make the entire team do it once a month, and we just pick different people, send them out, just because sometimes a postcard's kind of fun to get from somebody, even though it's not from a tropical island or somewhere like that. It's just kind of fun to get. I think thank you cards should be a must after someone does business with you. Again, not sure what everybody does here, but if they're buying anything from you, it should be an automatic that's in the mail the next day. I know since we have a couple realtors here, sending that like new homeowner little gift bag, box, basket. I don't know if either of you do that. I know that's pretty common.
We also do like a anniversary card. So like
Yes.
they bought a year ago, like, hey, congratulations on buying your house a year ago type note card too. And sometimes people are like, wow, they remembered that. Like,
And if the key is just consistency, you said you have a CRM or some sort of system to have where you can do it regularly. When it comes to giving gifts, it should never be about you and your business. So the worst thing you can do is give branded gifts, which is what a lot of times businesses go with. There's a time and place for that, but you want to make it more of a personalized gift. And that comes back to the relationship. Hey, I know April likes to cook, so I gear that gift towards her. Or so-and-so is a big Bears fan. I'm going to gear towards them, because it's always going to come back still for them to remember you, even if it doesn't say so-and-so business. If you gave me a nice set of knives with my last name, every time I cook, I'm going to see that name, my name, and remember, hey, you know what? Angie gave me this great knife, and it's always going to be in my head. Like, what a great gift. So if you can think of the gifts that you're going to give people, to make sure that, again, it's not about you and your business, but a personalized gift to them. I know I've heard some things of realtors, and again, maybe some people do this, of taking photos of somebody's house that they sold, putting it together, Shutterfly, some of these other places, a nice memory book, and then they give them to their client. Or a cool one I thought was the 2 street signs, their old house and their new house, artwork for them to hang up. I thought was kind of a cool idea. I've heard a couple people do that before. So, anything you can do to stand out. Obviously, the holiday should be a must. You should be sending something, even if it has a very low value, just something around Christmas. If you can do a Christmas in July, because people don't expect it. Everybody expects to get things from people they do business with around the holidays. But what about randomly in a June or July, when nobody's thinking about that, and your competitors aren't doing that? So that's kind of one way to look, is maybe celebrating that kind of middle of the year, Christmas in July, if you will, celebration. Another tactic you can use, surprise and delight. So this is something like the Ritz-Carlton does with their business. One, you build and maybe you do this already, a monthly budget for just what we're talking about, gift giving, surprise and delight. So you'd have to base that upon your own business. For us, it's $250 a month. The Ritz-Carlton, it's like $2,500 per employee. It's something outrageous. So find a number, and then basically every single month you have to spend that money on one of your clients or customers, no matter what. No, I'll push it into the next month. I'll spend it on this or that. Like, it has to get spent on somebody, and that could be birthdays, anniversaries, somebody just starting out with you, random stuff, no rhyme or reason. April just mentioned COVID. A lot of people are at home, not really doing much. So one thing you could do, we did, was just surprise care packages. So you could put together a nice little care package, maybe some healthy snacks, some things they might like, and then drop it off at their house with a little note. Don't tell them, though, because the surprise is the key, right? That naturally, emotionally gets us excited and happy, and drop it off at their house. You probably know where they live, right? Especially our realtors here. So that could be one thing you do. You just pick some random people, drop off those care packages, no rhyme or reason. You could do something along the lines of, go get them coffee, bring it to their office, right? If they're in office or at home, randomly sending them gift cards to their favorite restaurant, places like that. A good thing to do here as we approach Valentine's Day. Is everyone on social media? For yourself, or if you have a mini team or you have an office, just do a little post, a video, just saying why you love your clients and those that you're serving, right? This is why. If you have multiple people on your team, have everybody do it. You could clip it together, and it's just a great little message. You could put it in an email and blast it to your list. 1-2 minute video, just, hey, it's that time, love's in the air, here's why I love all of you guys, type thing. Another thing you can do, we've been doing this now for 3 years, I think works great, is if you pick a couple that's in your database, your list, and tell them that Valentine's Day dinner is on you. Where do you want to go? For us, it's Giamia. We tell them whatever they want to get, it's on us. People aren't going to go crazy. Trust me. Set it up, find out the time, make the reservation. Whoever's in charge of that restaurant, hey, just so you know, I'm going to pay for Isabel. She's coming Thursday at 6 o'clock. Take care of it that way. If you don't want to go that far, right? Isabel wants. If you don't want to go that far, you could do something like a bottle of wine and some chocolates that you deliver. But that's a way to use the holidays in your advantage. And again, that's using that budget that you have to spend.
We've also been doing some like customer experience events with our team. So like for the holidays, we did like a Santa event.
Okay.
Where we invited our sphere. We had Santa. We had like this year was different. We didn't do it because of COVID, but next week we're doing a virtual cooking class with a chef from Italy to teach how to make like real gnocchi, and you'll get the ingredients emailed to you ahead of time. And it's an hour and a half like virtual date night right before Valentine's Day. So also trying to do stuff like that. And that's lower cost too for somebody that doesn't have a big budget. So that's just another idea.
That's lower cost, and that's still providing an experience, but also value to them. Are any of you doing anything else creative along those lines, or making sure? Do you think of it that way? Anyone on here in terms of a budget each month that you have to spend? And it doesn't have to be high, but you just have to understand that you don't see that immediate return, right? You got to think that long term, what kind of effect. And you do a lot of these things, you'd be amazed. People post on social media the way they start talking about, oh my goodness, I got this random gift package outside my house from April, like, or whoever, from Isabel. They'll be kind of blown away by it, and you'll get that easy kind of free press, if you will, from it.
And the other thing is it gives you a reason to contact your sphere and to reach out to them, to invite them.
Yes. Other keys here, as we're talking about kind of strategies, probably the most underrated is just responsiveness. And hopefully everyone on here is good with that. But how quick are you responding to people? And this is both social media, if you have a website, your email, phone, whatever it might be. Are you being quick on that, right? Even the fact of being quick and responsive could give you an edge over somebody, because most businesses, individuals in business, are not good at this, right? So if you can, even if you're super with it now, can you even be a little bit quicker? And with that, it sets the expectation. If you are a one woman show, one man show, you might have to say, hey, between these hours I'm available. But just to let them know the expectation. But is everyone here pretty good with response time? Yes.
Yeah, we try to be.
Yeah. So it could be consistency, right? Maybe you're on it 50% of the time, and then there's a lot of times nobody's perfect, but just being very responsive to somebody is kind of like, okay, I must be a priority. She got back to me extremely quick. First, all right, it took them a couple of days. They're probably busy. They got lots of people they got to deal with. Now you can just kind of feel like somebody else, right? A number. Oh, there she is. You see her.
I finished lunch.
Yeah, you're done. So those are just some ideas that you can do. Some other things is look at what business you're in and ask yourself, and maybe it's hard to get the lens of the clients and customers, and you might have to literally ask them, but what's an annoying policy or part of what you do that you could step back and say, okay, this is really not necessary, or I could do this differently. Is there a policy? Is there a way, steps people do business with you that is just annoys the heck out of people, and that if you could take that step away, if you could chop it up, if you could make it more clear, easier to do, what would that be and what would it look like? Because that makes things a lot easier for, right, again, the client and the customer. Not necessarily what's easy for you, but what's easy for them. So if you dive in, maybe it's the way they go about filling out paperwork, how they schedule something with you. What can you do that can become more client-centric in terms of those little policies, procedures that are within your business?
You know, is that just for current customers, or do you use that same philosophy for getting new customers?
In terms of the policies.
Yeah, what you're, you know, like April, do you do the same thing if you're pursuing somebody? You know, sending little notes and stuff, or?
Oh yeah, I would say if somebody's, you're going back to the notes conversation.
Right, just, you know, do you do it just for you, the customers you have right now, or do you do it when you're pursuing new customers?
I would
mean,
do it
you same.
for everybody. I would always treat somebody like they already pay you, because then if they're like, man, Isabel treats me like this and I don't even pay her, what's it going to be like when I actually do pay her? So if you kind of have that frame of mind with it, in their head, that's what they're going to think. Okay, once I'm a paying customer, it must be that next level. So yes, I would always, no matter what, even if you're like, hey, there's no way this person's going to do business with me, never know, because they might, but someone they know could potentially, right? And then, you know, again, looking at strategies, what do all of you do in terms of if somebody doesn't do business with you? You know, oh, I wanted to see, could you sell my home? Could you do this for me? Could you do that? And then they don't go with you. What's the experience then for them? Is it okay, hey, thanks, see you later? Do you write them a nice note? Do you send them a nice message? Hey, you know, it didn't work out. Maybe next time, here's some resources. Hopefully can help you out. Can I help put you in contact with somebody else that might be a better fit? Something that still shows value, and that, hey, I still care about you. Not, okay, you don't want to do business with me. Okay, whatever, I could care less. Because you never know when that person comes back around, or somebody else, or they go another direction. Oh wow, that April woman, she was, you know, treated me amazing, and I thought maybe I wanted to go this way, but maybe not so great. Maybe I need to go back to her. So think about not only how people come in, we were talking about that, Isabel, right? But then what about if they go out with you? They're not going to do business with you. What's it like? And then we kind of mentioned, if they're going to do business with you, that should be oh my gosh, I got the handwritten thank you, I got some sort of a gift type thing, because it's those first 100 days somebody's doing business with you. I know, you know, selling homes, they do it, you know, the deal, and then they're done with you essentially, even though the relationship is still there. But still, those first 100 days somebody's essentially with you is so critical in the relationship. So what are you doing along that journey, that those little wow points, making it easy? You know, maybe it was Angie talked about, how about when they first start with you, sending them little emails or texts, hey, just want to make sure everything's going smooth. Did you understand steps 1 through 3? Was it clear? Do you need any help on that? I know it can be confusing for people at this stage. Let me know what you need. Like, just kind of those little check-ins, not just here you go, figure it out type stuff, but little touch points that you can do with everybody. Is anyone doing that now, just in terms of that initial part of the relationship?
Yeah, I have a whole system where you like initially you first contact, and then you send a, you know, a quick text, something like that. And it's always very I know I'm very social and hands-on person. So even when we're finished with our transaction, like, you're still going to hear from me forever. So I'm not going anywhere.
Perfect.
April does a great job from start to finish. The first time I met her, I always tell her this. I think she was new to the neighborhood or new to real estate. And she was walking around putting these little cards with her information, and she had chocolate. And I happened to be outside my house, and she handed me one. And I was like, you gave me chocolate. I know we're going to be friends. And that was several years ago. We're involved in all sorts of groups together now. My son bought a house from her.
There you go. You never know.
It's
Never
just,
know.
yeah. And his whole experience was great. She gave him a little gift. She's wonderful with all the follow-up and everything.
Yeah, and the follow-up's the king. But like April said, it's all about systemizing. So maybe if you're doing a lot of this stuff sporadically, it's got to be consistent and just executed, not perfectly, because the bar is so low. that it doesn't have to be perfection because nobody gets there, but even just that little step above the bar makes the biggest difference because you're still blowing people out of the water in terms of doing a lot of these little things. Kind of going through it quick. I mean, we got what, 15 minutes or so, 20. Does anyone have any specific questions to what they do about either anything we've talked about or just questions in general? How about appreciation? Does anyone do random appreciation? Instead of, hey, we do it every year, but on a monthly basis or quarterly basis, just appreciation, whether it's messaging on social and email, text, hey, all of my customers, clients for this month could be high, our best donors, we're doing blank for you this month. Just no reason other than thank you. That's it. A lot of times appreciation is shown once a year, every once in a while, but how about more on a regular basis? It could just be, again, little things, and it could be built into that surprise and delight budget. But any questions from anyone specific to what you're doing?
I have kind of a unique situation because I'm trying to attract youth to programs. And since I'm older, they're like kind of, and so we try and make it fun for them. We try and connect with them, but I'm wondering if you have any ways of when there's a generational thing. That's what I feel sometimes is like they're like, we're still posting our stuff on Facebook and I'm not even sure that they look at Facebook anymore. So.
And you're trying to get them interested in what you guys do to donate essentially, or?
No, to participate. We have programs like we had thank you for first responders. We were going to have a policeman, a fireman, and a nurse talk to them, and then they would create thank you cards for them.
So you just want them to get involved in those type programs.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I would say I would go to, Instagram, which is going to be where you'll find more, probably that age group. And really for all of you, a lot of the service stuff gets taken to the next level on social. You got to be that much more responsive because people expect it faster. And then, whether you're looking for customers, clients, people to help get on board, volunteer, things like that, I would just go on social media, and it's all about experience and giving. I think Angie talked about the giving. Just go on, like people's pages, comment on them, and kind of interact with them, showing that, back to that C word, that you're caring about what's going on with them. And then they're going to kind of be like, okay, what's this person about? What's this organization business about? So that's what I would tell you. Try to get on Instagram and go that route. And, do each of you interact with clients, customers on social media? Do you see, hey, look, their son just won this, comment, birthday, comment, something special, comment. If they share something about you, do you then share it on yours? Oh my gosh, look at this or that, or, so excited for so-and-so, they just bought a house with us, all those type little things. That you want to also care about on their social media page. So it's not just email and things like that, but the social aspect of it is big.
Yeah, I think for me, I like eventually become friends with my clients. I just had a young man last year purchase his first house. He got a puppy. He sent me updates on like how he changed the house. He's like, yeah, once COVID's over, I'm going to have you come over. It was my babysitter's older brother. But like just those connections, like the transaction ended, but our relationship hasn't ended.
And I guarantee you that person's going to always refer you to everybody just because
and
of
then
that.
yeah, and then he's younger, so I'm sure his friends are going to start buying houses or buying their first property. So, like my goal, not only do I have a genuine like relationship with that person, but ultimately I want them to refer business back to me. That's kind of the ultimate goal. Like, yeah, it's a relationship business, but the goal is to keep that relationship going after the transaction's ended. So yeah, it's, I'm on Facebook and I'm on some other social media, but I'm not as present on those. It's hard to kind of keep up with everything and still reach out to your sphere and prospect. But yeah, like trying to comment on things. I know like with Facebook, their algorithms are constantly changing. So the more you post and comment on other people, because for a while there, you're only seeing like your top 10, 20 friends in your feed. You're not seeing, like for instance, I'm a big Pearl Jam fan, and I post like, there was something that came up in like an ad for this really cool artwork piece of like these lyrics for Pearl Jam. So I posted it, but I put a personal story of mine attached to it. And I had a guy from my high school comment that I haven't talked to in forever comment on it. So he lives out in California. Like I PM'd him and we went back and forth a few times, but like just making that connection, because who knows who he's going to know.
Yeah.
So he doesn't live here. Like I grew up in Iowa, but he lives in California. Like you just don't know where the next deal or your next business is going to come from. So
well, and the personal comment on social media is almost the equivalent of the handwritten note, because that almost is the generation now version of that. So yeah, the more you can comment, the more, I mean, think of all of us. If you're on social media, if you see somebody comment on anything you post, you're kind of get a little bit of a smile, like, oh, look, that person cared about what I had to say or post. So that's going to be that same mindset for them, as who's Isabel commenting on this, or, what's this business, or it's going to instantly draw attention because they're like, hey, they care about me, which is really cool. There's a basketball player. She's in the WNBA. If any of you are sports fans, her name's Candace Parker. She's from this area, and she recently is now coming to the Chicago team. And I saw on her social media the other day, she was so excited because Portillo's gave her a shout out to say, hey, welcome back to Chicago. So there you go. Yeah, it's a big business on a large scale, but she was so excited about Portillo. She's like a millionaire, just giving her a shout out, like how much that meant to her. She put it up on Twitter. Everyone sees it's Portillo's. Oh, that was nice of them. So the effect of just commenting sometimes and making, having a message can have a big impact on somebody, even if, they're not necessarily your client, but makes them aware of you. So anybody else, any particular questions?
How do you streamline all your systems, Hank?
So it has to be, if you have a team, it's got to be taught from day one to the team. If you're a solo person, then it's just a routine, whether it's, you have notifications on your phones, things like that, but it just has to be a systematic. On Mondays, I do blank, right? It's okay. Every time someone's new for us, here's the steps: handwritten card, they get their goodie bag, they get the message from us, a video welcoming them, and kind of what are those steps. And you just have to consistently do it so it becomes kind of a habit. But it might be notifications for all of you to start off. Okay, every beginning of the month, I need to spend this money to do this. Or, okay, every time I get a new customer, this is what I have to do. Anybody else, anything particular to what you're doing? Sounds like a lot of you are pretty much spot on the right page. If anything, it would just be make sure you're consistent with it, and continuously kind of looking at the other industries and seeing what they're doing that you could maybe take to your industry. Realtors, I mean, how many realtors are there, right? Endless amounts. So any little thing that you can do to stand out is going to be huge, instead of just your same old realtor that everybody sees. And this is not about social media talk, but again, if you can post as much value content to your people, that's still giving them an experience even when they're not with you, is another way that you can kind of play with social media. But yeah, I would just comment on as many people's pages, posts. That'll get you a lot of attention in it by itself. Anyone else? I kind of went through it quick just because I wanted to make it more of an interaction, since there's a couple of us and seeing what industries everybody in. There's no need to talk about building a team when it sounds like everybody's solo or nonprofit. But thank you. If anyone has anything else they would like, any help with anything, more ideas, didn't really get to go through a lot of the different strategies, just a few. Shoot me an email. If you want to write it down, it's hank@h4training.com.
Here, I'll put it in the chat. Hank at
H4 training, h4-training.com. I could see. And then if anyone's interested, I'd be happy to send a copy of anyone of the book too. Just shoot me an email and I can send you one of those. Everybody's local.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you, Hank. I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, thank you. And again,
That was
hopefully we know service is never going to be, we're not talking about coding here. It's simple stuff, but hopefully that message just resonates. And if anything, you remember, hey, it's got to be consistency. And if you leave with one thing, it's just care more about your clients and customers and your competitors, and you win every time. So
That's right. Love on your people.
yes,
I
love them or someone else will, right?
That's right. If you're not calling them, somebody else will.
Yes. Well,
Awesome.
thank you, ladies. Have a great
Thank
rest of your day. Angie, if you do want to come check us out, shoot me an email. I'll be happy to set you up with a free month.
All right, sounds good.
I
All
love
right.
it. Awesome. Thank you so
All right,
much.
thank
All right,
you.
bye,
All
ladies.
right, bye.
Guys.